what I'm calling the idpolization of labor, and why I'm fucking over the liberal left. Now, I've got good friends on the liberal left. There are almost all the content creators who I enjoy are liberal leftists, but I'm fucking over it, dude. I'm so fucking over people trying to dignify shitty jobs. Fuck off with that shit. Oh my god. You fucking idiots! This tweet. I said, what culture reductionists mean when saying class is a vector of oppression or class is an identity. This right here. All jobs are equally valid. All jobs are equally valid. Yay! And what we have here is a person who's making people drinks at a bar. A person who is teaching, a person who is a janitor, a person who is working at McDonald's, a person who is probably working, well, it's some kind of sex work, probably OnlyFans, and then we also have a judge, but it's okay because it's a black judge. Okay. And first of all these jobs, the one that is probably like the most real in terms of like okay, if McDonald's all around the world closed down tomorrow, I think we'd all be okay in the long run. We'd all be basically fine if McDonald's all around the world closed down tomorrow. Teachers, we might be better off, honestly, at this point. This education system is so fucked, but at the same time, I mean, I just know too many teachers who give me their insider perspectives on what's going on, and I don't know that I've ever met a homeschool person who has it worse off than most people that I talk to who are being put through the subjectivization grinder that we call public education. Though, of course, if you have like a well-financed school, I mean, that's the key, right? And if you have like a serious like education, then like awesome, great. But if it's all just directed towards making you like a docile worker, or not a docile, but like a highly fungible, like able to jump through hoops and constantly change jobs so that you can constantly serve the dictates of capital, then yeah, that is what most education today is about. But it's just making you obedient, making you be able to regurgitate, and it's about crushing your creativity, and it's about crushing your intellect, and it's about crushing civil discourse, and it's about crushing the spirits of children, and it's about abusing children, and that's why it's fucked. But, you know, whatever. But, I mean, to put a judge and a sex worker on the level of a janitor is so insulting. Is so insulting. Now, with sex work is a complicated, you know, topic. I've already said shit that will make people go, oh, you're being a swerf, which means like a sex work exclusionist feminist or whatever. Okay. Sometimes people really are like super anti-sex worker, and like Amy Therese was like calling them whores, and it's like, Jesus, come on. All right. Like, you know, obviously and she was doing some kind of like sort of class analysis when she was doing it, because she's saying it's these middle class OnlyFans gals who are really just drug addicts of their own choosing, because they're nihilistic losers sitting around in messy rooms. They have no life, and they're just narcissists who are preying off of lonely people and acting like their work is just as real as other people's work. We're leaving out of the picture there the people who are coerced into it, the people who are manipulated into it, the people who are even manipulated and coerced into drug addiction, the people who are taken off the streets and trafficked as children, and then they grow up into it. But like the whole industry is rotten to its core, and there's some good exceptions, some really, really good exceptions to the rule. Where you have people, it's all consensual, they come from relative privilege, or at least they've got like, the whole thing is kind of like a beneficent like model, fine. But the general thing going on here is, yeah, you do have these middle class people trying to act like we're in it together, and then you have like people who are forced into prostitution and sex work, and that's a fucking no, not necessary. Not necessary. Okay? That's not essential labor. Stop fucking acting like it is. If people want to stream their boobies or whatever, or their buttholes on fucking their own time, cool. But like, to act like that's like just as important as a janitor who can't even afford to pay for or own a home, much less support a family, like a janitor was able to in the 1970s. By the way, in the 1970s, a janitor could work their way through college, come out of that not in debt, buy a home, support a family. In the 70s, a janitor, I would take that in a heartbeat. In a fucking heartbeat. I would line up for that job. Now, as Catherine Liu says in, I don't know, I hope I'm saying her name right, but as Catherine Liu says in the book Virtue Hoarding, not possible anymore. And people would rather be like, janitor is a valid job. Yeah, no fucking duh. Now you need to get a real job, okay? Yeah, no, janitor is a valid job. But if it was redistributed so that Bloomberg's children and Elon Musk's children and Trump and the Clintons' children all had to do their fair share of janitorial work just like everyone else, I wonder how much of that would be automated. I wonder. Yeah, but we'll never get there with this fucking, it's a valid job. Yeah, shut the fuck up. Recognition is not what workers need. God damn. This is such a visceral thing for me. I cannot be neutral. I cannot sit here and be objective. I cannot speak to you about it in a calm, cool, collected way like it's some academic subject. This is our fucking lives we're talking about. And we're talking about the parents of children who don't have the time and energy for their fucking kids. So I said, the point is not inclusion of class as an identity. You fucking radlibs. And by the way, a radlib is, in my definition, a person who takes an entire ethic of, you know, it's all about fairness and anti-bullying and empathy, and then turns that into, it's actually about selective, corrective unfairness, as long as it's against the right people, and selective bigotry as long as it's against the right people, and they do these compensatory kind of bullying fucking things as a way to try to right the system, or to stretch the Overton window, because all they care about is the Overton window, and they think that every issue getting mainstreamed is the solution to everything, because they literally believe in the bourgeois big other. They literally believe in the liberal left big other. They just think if Republicans would just get out of the way, or if there were just a few more Democrats, that were on our side, we'd be able to do it. Yeah, the point is not inclusion of class as an identity, you fucking radlibs. The point is to abolish the commodification of labor, not to dignify it by raising sexual exploitation and bullshit oppressor jobs like judges to the level of essential labor. If sitting in the role of judge, and this is my caveat, okay? I am self-critical of this position. If sitting in the role of judge or having sexy fun time with a public audience on your phone are activities that are good in themselves, then they do not need to be commodified, do they? No, they fucking don't. Neither is essential labor in society. That's everyone's chores. And then somebody comes in and says, well, don't you think that judges are needed in any conceivable society? Yeah, absolutely. So are juries. Juries aren't paid. And if they are paid, they don't need to be paid. I've never done jury duty, even though I've always wanted to. But I'm just saying, like, no. It doesn't need to be paid. The founding fathers of the United States did not think that, like, being a senator would be a full-time occupation. They thought that they'd spend a lot of time out on their farms, reading Plato around the fireplace with their families, exploiting slave labor. But, you know, point being, like, they didn't have this fucking vision of full-time pure parasites operating in these made-up bureaucracies, living above, like, real labor. Like, they did not, that was not part of the fucking picture.